Michigan's short track racing authority is Horsepower Happenings.
Charlie Bauer, welcome into Horsepower Happenings.
Scotty Thiel, welcome to Horsepower Happenings.
John Beach, welcome into Horsepower Happenings.
Adam Terry, welcome into Horsepower Happenings.
Paul Pelletier.
Corbin Hazlett, Riley Knoll.
Matt Kemp, Dylan Stovall, welcome into Horsepower Happenings.
From pavement to dirt, modifieds to sprint cars, hear from drivers, promoters, track owners, and many other industry leaders.
We worked on that car for 12 days straight, and when I got to the Speedway Saturday, I was out of gas. I had to take a nap.
You're out there and, you know, that groove, if you're outside of it, you could be a couple tenths off or even half a second off.
It is not a shock that you've won all these races. You know what I mean? There's so many pieces to the puzzle to make these cars go fast.
I don't care what he says. I saw a thing on Facebook on somebody's post that's now been deleted that one of his crew guys said that the spotter told him car low and I wrecked him.
With over 50 years of experience from racing to management, here are Zach Heiser and Rich France.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome into Horsepower Happenings. Big show coming up for you tonight. We've got two first-time guests on the program, and then, of course, we'll talk MadMax Moment coming up later on in the program. But first, here are some things that are happening in a Mark News Minute. In the world of NASCAR, they were at Echo Park Speedway for the top two tiers of the sport anyhow, and that's in Atlanta, formerly known as Atlanta Motor Speedway. Ryan Blaney took was it technically a Monday morning win? I think it might have been. Ryan Blaney gets the win in the Cup Series. Justin Allgaier, it's going to get harder and harder for him to retire if he keeps this up. Picks up another NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series win. And the trucks, by the way, NASCAR Truck Series was at Lime Rock doing some road course racing. Grant Enfinger went to victory lane there. Now, this is not an official Yawn of the Week nominee, but nationally it pretty much is. Bobby Pierce wins another World of Outlaws Late Model Series event, this one coming from Sharon Speedway over the weekend. How about Haudenschild? He handled business this weekend with the World of Outlaws, winning on Thursday at Hartford Speedway, and then again on Saturday at Wilmot, or Saturday? Now I'm confused. Anyhow, he got the win at Wilmot, and Brady Allen held off Bobby Santos the third Saturday night at Owasso Speedway for his first career must-see racing win. Those things and so much more happening tonight on Horsepower Happenings. Good evening. Welcome in. I'm Zach Heiser. Rich France joins me from across the way. What's going on, sir?
Nothing. I had some fun last week. A lot of Hell Tour action every single night I was watching.
Wow. Yes, there was.
So, and kind of lucked out with the weather, right? They got a whole weekend, I think, and some good racing. There was some really good racing. Some local guys did a real good job. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, it was good. And so it started, I don't know where you consider it started in our region. I know Monday, Kankakee, then Tuesday, Montpelier, Wednesday, really in our region, right? Wednesday at I-96 Speedway, Thursday at Butler, Friday at Crystal, Saturday at Oakshade, and then they wrap things up Sunday from Wayne County Speedway. Now, when did you start tuning in, Rich? When did you start figuring out what was going on?
Yeah, well, I knew the schedule, but I went ahead and started on Tuesday and watched straight through the week. So, I started with Montpelier. That was a rough one. That was
pun intended.
Yeah, I mean, the Milkman had a bad night. I was very surprised. I mean, it was so bad. They just, they ran that race without points. It got so bad.
Right.
And some guys were loading up, and you saw once the late model feature started, once the guys started, if it was too rough, they were pulling off, and they pulled off in a hurry and in groups at the beginning.
Yeah. And that's tough. Hate to see that. So, and we kind of, well, we didn't talk about it on the show because it was after the show, but we talked about it a lot with some drivers throughout the week. I feel bad because Ryan does such a nice job down there. And I will say this, Rich, at least give him some credit where credit is due. The next morning, he ponied up and got on Facebook and took responsibility for the racetrack and said that it wasn't good enough and really kind of owned it, which I think is it's commendable. It's a good thing. But then I also did talk to some race car drivers who said on Wednesday, I talked to them, they said, yeah, it was rough, but I don't know that it was that bad. We've been on tracks that have been worse and still raced for full points and full pay. So kind of a toss-up. It depends on who you talk to on how things really went. Now, Wednesday, I had a chance to be on location at I-96 Speedway and got to watch a really fun night of racing. Both the late model and modified portions of the show were amazing. Rusty Schlenk took the lead in the late model portion of the show just before the halfway point, and then caution, restart, caution, restart. and he had to do some driving there in that 91 machine, and it was pretty cool to hear the crowd pop off too when he went down in victory lane. His first Hell Tour win, gosh, in what, like 16 years, I think they said, since 2010. He hasn't been to victory lane in the Hell Tour, so that was pretty cool to get a chance to be there and see that. And then how about this too? I didn't know this. David Stremme, first career Summit Equipment Modified's Hell Tour win Wednesday night at I-96. How about that?
Yeah, I'm guessing that's probably because he doesn't run that many of them,
Right.
For the most part. But yeah, Rusty, 16 years, and boy, at I-96, you didn't have to look very far to find that 91 machine. It was up on the lip that whole race, and man, was he shot out of a cannon.
Yeah, and he said too after the race, he was like thankful that the guys in front of him committed to the bottom, so he was able to be up there and kind of figure it out. And it was funny. I was standing at the top of turn 1 right before they called the feature up with Travis Stemler, and we actually saw Walt, the guy who promotes, or not promotes, but prepares the racetrack at I-96. And Spangler goes, or Travis Stemler goes, the cushion's too good. It's going to be way too good. And Walt goes, nah, it's pretty thin. If you're going to win on the cushion, you're going to have to do some driving. He said, you're probably going to see a lot of people on the bottom. Man, Walt called it. A lot of people are on the bottom. And I will say that cushion almost bit Rusty a couple of times on Wednesday night.
Yeah, and you always worry about that, right? Because it doesn't take much to go from looking good to over at I-96, right? Especially off of turn number 2. That's the dangerous part. Once in a while, you see it through 3 and 4. Somebody will slide up over the top. But, man, you see it way more often coming off of turn 2. And Rusty didn't leave a whole lot to play with as hard as he was running that 91 machine. And it paid off for him.
Yep, it absolutely did. David Stremme. That was a good race, too, by the way, in the modifieds. Kurt Spalding, I think if that race stays green, Kurt Spalding might have something for David Stremme. He started reeling him back in. I talked to Kurt in the infield after the race, and I asked him about it, and I said, you didn't need that caution. He goes, man, that caution killed me. He said, I gave too much too early, and David got around me, and he said, I was just laying back, letting the tires cool down, getting things back ready to go, and he was reeling him in, and then a caution with inside of 5 to go. There was nothing that Kurt could do, so David goes on to win. Thursday, Butler Motor Speedway plays host. Interesting, track prep was again kind of a discussion that, I thought it was interesting all week. It seemed like the shows got started late because of track prep. We had that at I-96. Track prep was a discussion on Tuesday at Montpelier. The show got started behind schedule Thursday at Butler for track prep. And I don't know if it paid off or not. I wasn't there, to be completely honest, and I didn't get a chance to see the whole show. Rich, did you get a chance to take in the show from Butler?
I sure did. And what it looked like, what it sounded like to me was, there were storms coming through, right? And they didn't water the track. Mm. And I think they were planning on catching some Mother Nature help with it, right?
Yeah.
And they never got it, I don't think. It sprinkled for a little bit, but it didn't look like it. And then they had when they wanted to get started, I think shortly before that, they had a track a lot drier than what they wanted to start with. And then, don't put too much water on the track, said no one ever.
Yeah, well, it can be done.
They dumped it, and then they had to wait. Then they had to wait an hour. They had to. They tried packing it in. That wasn't help. I mean, they put cars out there and they're sliding sideways down the front straightaway. They couldn't even. They had to go down in the infield just to get off the racetrack to get a run up the hill. And then they had to let it sit a little bit, let Mother Nature do her work. A little bit of that, and then they put the big stuff out there to start packing it in, and it seemed to get a little better after that.
Yeah. Racing wise, if you watched it unfold, how were the features? Take us through that.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I mean, Chad Finley, if he was going to do it, he had to be good right off the bat. But when you're trying to run with Tanner English the way he's been running the last couple of weeks, that's pretty hard to do. Chad still did a nice job, finished on the podium in third, had a strong car. But when those guys that have been running this tour and they run national tours, when they come in town, it's tough to beat these guys. Even on your home track, it's still tough to beat them.
For sure. So Tanner English ends up going to victory lane Thursday night at Butler Motor Speedway. David Stremme goes from having never won a Hell Tour event to going back to back. And then Friday, Crystal Motor Speedway, they had a doubleheader weekend, not with the Hell Tour, but just in general. Their weekend started on Friday. Ryan Unzicker goes to victory lane. And Dylan Nussbaum picks up the win in the modifieds. Did you end up going? You asked about going to this event. Did you go?
I did not go, but I didn't miss it. I
Okay.
still I still watched it.
Okay.
But no, Ryan Unzicker did a great job, and I think what won that feature for him is Ryan Unzicker was really good in traffic, really good. He knew where to go. Made a couple of 3 wide moves that he really needed to make to kind of get the gap over Tanner English. Because if he'd have just sat there following 2 cars, Tanner English was going to run him down. And but he made some good moves, and it ended up being not even close at the end. So Ryan Unzicker did a great job.
All right. And so then we move on to the birthday race on Saturday at Oakshade Raceway. Frank Heckenash Jr., he'll go to victory lane in that one. A friend of the program, Zeke McKenzie, picks up the modified portion. And for the second year in a row, the guy who started on the pole at Oakshade, and it may go back further than that, I just know from our recap last week, Frank Heckenash Jr. starts on the pin, goes to victory lane. Ryan Unzicker finishes second, +2 on the night. Rusty Schlenk from 7th to 4th. Sam Seawright finished 3rd. Luke Morey rounds out the top 5. I imagine, Rich, that you were busy on Saturday night and didn't catch this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I was working. I was working at Flat Rock, so I could absolutely not catch. That was the only one I didn't see all week.
All right. So there's that. And by the way, Zeke McKenzie for the Summit Equipment Modified side of things, their results are not easily accessible on the website. So apologize for that, but we do have them on our website, marknews.org. And then the Dirt Car Summer Nationals wrapped up on Sunday from Wayne County. Tyler Carpenter, Dalton Lane. Tyler Carpenter gets the late model win. Dalton Lane goes to victory lane in the modifieds. And Tanner English is crowned the Summer Nationals Held Tour champion for the late models, Rich.
Yep. And Zeke McKenzie left. He didn't show up. He had that thing locked up, right? That championship. So he said, we're going to go back home. We want to get ready for the Prairie Dirt Classic coming up in a couple of weeks here. So, and he didn't need to be there, right? There was no point for him to show up. He had the points locked up. So, like you said, Zeke, friend of the program, great job. Congratulations to Zeke on that championship.
Yep, for sure. Okay, let's move on. What else happened? I just put this note in here because I kind of have to. Great Lakes Super Sprints, Circle City Raceway on Friday. Very cool place. First time that I'd ever been to Circle City, Rich. The facility is very neat. And the racing that was put on at Circle City was fantastic. Oh, my goodness. The feature... you may look at the feature results and say that it was a snooze fest. If you just look at the results and say, Parker Price Miller started on the pole, won. Zane DeVault starts inside the top 5, finishes second. Graham Huffman starts second, finishes third. Snooze fest. Anything but that. That place was really fun, really racy. Some of those heat races, I don't think I've ever gotten so excited for some heat races, Rich. Oh, my goodness, were they battling? Very good. And looking forward to going back there, hopefully a couple of times in 2027. Parker Price Miller gets the win, his first win of the season, first career win with the Great Lakes Super Sprints. And Rich, he told us in Victory Lane, he says, this is our first win in anything all year. He backed it up the next night with a $10,000 win in Pennsylvania. So we must have.
What's he doing? Is he running a lot of 360? All-Star Circuit of Champions stuff? What's he doing? Because
I think that he's just running whatever he wants. And this one was in their backyard, right? I mean,
whatever he can get a ride in, maybe?
Well, no, he's got a ride with that Indy Race Parts number 71. He's from Kokomo. Indy Race Parts is obviously from Indianapolis, so this was in their backyard. So they took advantage of racing that this weekend and found a $10,000 to win show to back it up with. So
not bad. He's been. I saw him a couple times, All-Star Circuit of Champions, and I don't think that was the first time he ran with Great Lakes Super Sprints either, was it this year?
For this year, it's the first time, but he's run with us before. Last year, we saw him at Eldora. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. No, he's a wheel man. I'm telling you, you put him in some good equipment, it's hard to beat him.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's get into the winners from the weekend. I don't know what Facebook's problem is. I tried to create a poll for everybody to vote on, and it's not letting me activate it for some reason. So, but I wanted to know, and we'll try to get this more to an exact science next week. I wanted to know who had the yawn performance of the week, Rich. And some of these are not in your wins list, but Colin Bozell goes back to victory lane in a street stock at Galesburg. Eric Spangler, you're going to talk about that. Trevor Berry at Owasso, Chad Freeman in the compacts at Tri-City. Who is your vote for yawn of the week? I wanted to try to get that going on our Facebook page, but hear that? That's me clicking on the activate poll button and it's not working. So anyhow, go ahead. Who do you have for your winners this week?
Okay, we're going to start just because we're going to have a guest on here shortly. We're going to start with Mount Pleasant Speedway. In the IMC mods, it was Jeff Rhea. Pro Stocks, Danielle Robinson, and her first win of the year and her biggest payday. Did you see that check? $1,000 she got. And that
see
thing's
the size
bigger
of the physical check? That thing was as big as her
that
race
thing's
car.
bigger than she is. You know,
Well,
check's
but
bigger
yeah.
than you. IMCA stock cars, Miles Spencer. Crown Vics was Randy Clayton. 4 cylinders, Blake Goki. And then the mini wedges, 6-9, Luke Van Herk. 10-14, 2 features for them. Gage Vandy and Vivian Nelson picked up the feature wins in the mini wedges.
All right. You'll have to continue because I lost my script here on my screens.
So we'll jump to Merritt Speedway on Saturday in the late models. Merritt Speedway and Eric Spangler in Victory Lane. Is that an abnormality or
No.
hum?
Yeah, that's pretty common. That's a pretty common occurrence.
Then we'll go to the Pro Stocks. Keep it in the family. Kody Robinson picked up the win at Merritt Speedway in the Pro Stocks. Factory Stocks, Nick Putman. 4 6-cylinders, Bradley Smith. Then in the mini wedges in the restricted class, Cason Harrington. Unrestricted, Kindon Cade.
Okay, I'm back in. Kalamazoo Speedway, mid-season championships. How about Luke Crick going to Victory Lane in the template late models? We know he's done that before, but we don't see his name very often, so congratulations to him. And you pointed this out, Rich. Jerry Pierman, we're used to seeing that name for a template late model win. Remember last year, it was like every week we were talking about Jerry going to Victory Lane, either at Springport or Kalamazoo or somewhere in the template car. He gets the win in the Outlaw Limited late models. Ricky LeDuc, after taking a couple of weeks, we haven't seen anything from him. He's back to Victory Lane in the street stocks. And this should have absolutely been in the yawn of the week voting.
No, read it carefully.
Oh, Matt Elzy Sr. goes to Victory Lane.
There you go.
Good catch, Rich. Good catch. Yeah.
Okay, and then
not a yawn of the week nominee.
No, I that's why I put SR in capital letters.
That's what that means. Okay, got it.
Flat Rock Speedway Outlaw Super Late Models, great 50-lap feature event. Eric Lee picking up the win. Paul Pelletier bringing it home second. So 1 spot short for the guy that's owned that place for a couple of years now.
That would have been
Johnny Rango picked up Johnny Rango picked up the street stock win, and Billy Early brought home the figure 8 feature win.
Okay, and that is your winners from the weekend. Obviously, not everybody will have full results posted on marknews.org tomorrow for you to go through and take a look at. Right now, we have to take a break. Excuse me. When we come back, we talked to one of these winners from the weekend. Was not a yawn of the week nominee. This has been she's been clawing at this one. $1,000 winner from Mount Pleasant Speedway. Danielle Robinson's coming up next here on the Horsepower Happenings podcast.
The Horsepower Happenings podcast is Michigan's short track racing authority. For nearly a decade, Horsepower Happenings has given race fans a chance to hear directly from their favorite drivers, local track owners, and promoters. Horsepower Happenings is the only podcast keeping fans engaged with Michigan area racing for 52 weeks a year. Don't miss the Horsepower Happenings podcast live on Facebook every Monday night at 6:30 and available everywhere you enjoy podcasts. Visit horsepowerhappenings.com and follow on Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube.
Make sure your brand stands out from the crowd with Madman Signs and Designs. Flashy, clean, color, or simplistic, Madman Signs and Designs can make sure your race car, business vehicle, merchandise, or even your iRacing rig looks exactly how you dreamed it would. Get designs that help your brand, team, or business stand out from the crowd with the Madman at Madman Signs and Designs. Call 517-647-9573 or find Madman Signs and Designs on Facebook. One of the biggest question marks for your event is, what are we going to do for food? Heavenly Smoked Barbecue is your answer. Serving Michigan and Northern Indiana, Heavenly Smoked Barbecue brings the best from the grill to your plate with pulled pork, pork belly, chicken, mac and cheese, baked beans, and more. Graduation open house, birthday parties, weddings, festivals. If it needs food, Heavenly Smoked Barbecue will offer options that will have them saying, that smells heavenly. Call 269-908-3948 or find Heavenly Smoked Barbecue on Facebook. Think your camper handled the winter just fine? Think again. Every time the temperature fluctuates, drop moisture freezes and expands, turning tiny hairline cracks into major pathways for water. That freeze-thaw cycle is a silent killer for RV seals. If you haven't had a professional roof and exterior sealant inspection this spring, you're likely towing a leak you can't see yet. Midwest Camper Repair specializes in catching that winter damage before it reaches your interior. We're mobile and we check it all from the roof to the floor. Don't let a winter crack ruin your summer fun. Call Midwest Camper Repair today and start the season sealed tight. Call 419-799-1171. That's 419-799-1171, or visit MidwestCamperRepair.com. Serving the tri-state area from the roof to the floor, Midwest Camper Repair has you covered.
Welcome back to the Horsepower Happenings podcast. Maybe we shouldn't do these on Mondays anymore. I don't know. 9 years, maybe that's enough of the Mondays. It's time for our first featured interview of the week, and it's our pleasure to welcome in a young lady who has been really building her social media following, and oh, by the way, she knows how to win races too. It's our pleasure to welcome in for the first time on Horsepower Happenings, Danielle Robinson. Welcome in.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's our pleasure. We've, I was thinking about this, and I was kind of going through your racing page or your personal page, looking at some old photos back from the mini stock days and going, man, we've been watching you race for quite some time. And, you worked your way up from the mini stocks, or whatever you want to call them, the compacts, 4-cylinders, because you ran the rear wheel drive variety. And now you're up in pro stocks doing this thing. Man, how long have you been racing now? It's weird to think about how long you've actually been behind the wheel.
Oh gosh. Shoot, I was just thinking about this today. I think I've been in the pro stock for now 5 years. And then I raced the 4-cylinder for 3 years. And then I did 3 years of go-karts before that.
Quick math, 11? Does that give us 11? Okay.
Just about. I think I was about 16-ish in a car.
Okay, cool. So let's talk about this pro stock, because when you started racing, or when you were racing, we were seeing you in the 4-cylinder stuff. So what leads to the jump to pro stocks? I think it's interesting, when you're racing at Merritt, Tri-City, Crystal, Mount Pleasant, that kind of northern area. Pro stocks is an option that's not an option for us down here in the southern part of the state. So how do you land there over maybe a street stock or a modified or even a late model?
Well, when I was still in the 4-cylinder, we were actually going to go to a street stock at the time when I was going to move up. And then one day Dad was like, how about you just get into a pro stock? I'm like, okay. And that was literally it. That's pretty much the story.
Now, did Dad, I can't remember, did your dad race? Was he racing?
At that time, not as much. When we got in the go-karts, he kind of dialed it back so that me and Katie could race every weekend, and he just didn't really have the time. But before that, absolutely. And then he kind of started getting back into it the last couple of years, and now he's racing pretty much every weekend. So
any idea why he picked pro stocks to say, let's just jump into these?
No, I don't. He just literally said it one day, and I'm like, okay, that's fine.
Whatever you want to do, Dad. Yeah.
It really didn't matter to me, to be honest, but I like the pro stock, so it worked out.
So let me ask you a question. I got to find out, is this really a competition between you and your sister? I mean, she seems to be, I mean, she's been really good this year, right? It seems like, and you waited a little longer, but like you said, I got the bigger check, right? So where does that put you on the totem pole?
Well, she has been doing amazing, and I'm so proud of her. She does have my old car. I don't know if you guys knew that. I got a new car last year, and we have been really struggling with it pretty much all of last year and then this year. But that car, she does have my old one that I won quite a bit in, and she is doing amazing in it. So I would say that she's probably better than I am right now, because I don't really have much to show for it.
So what was the difference for you, do you think? Obviously, very strong car at Mount Pleasant on Friday. What was the difference that you found with your race car to be able to pick up the win?
Oh, goodness. We have been really, really struggling with my car being just so tight all year long. We've been trying to get it out of it. We've trying to get it to turn for me. And we finally figured out there was a bunch of stuff wrong with the front end. We fixed it up Saturday, and then it ended up raining out. So we didn't get a chance to run it, but then I ran it Friday, and the car was very free. And that was something that I was not used to. But I think that was really what did it, is that I was actually able to turn the car and drive off the corner. So I could drive it.
Now, we've seen some videos this year that you've posted, kind of like recapping your weekend, if you will. And you've talked a lot about the car just either not responding or not doing what you thought it would do. Do you guys feel like you've been chasing your tail a little bit with this thing?
Absolutely. Every single week, it seems like we're trying something new, changing something just to get it to work. And it seems like it'll work for one thing and then mess up another thing. So then we're like chasing that, and then we change that and then it messes up another thing, or it doesn't work for the one thing. It's been a mess, but this year it's gotten a lot better, and it seems like we're very close every single week, but it just doesn't, it's not quite there. But I think now we've got it to a point where it's definitely on the right track, which is really nice.
How's that on the driver when you're trying these things and you're like, well, we fixed this, but we made this worse, and okay, we fixed that, now this is worse. I mean, is that tough for you to stay positive, early in the season when you're not winning and you're fighting through these gremlins?
Yeah, it definitely has been a struggle. Last year was probably one of the toughest years that I've been through, and it was really hard. This year has been better. I've been trying to stay a little bit more positive, but it is tough. It's definitely tough on the mental. It's hard when you go from doing so well and then not doing as good, but you just keep pushing through it.
What do you think has been and you guys are continuing to chase this, like, is it a completely different chassis manufacturer? How does that work with Pro Stocks? Obviously with the stock front stub, are you able to still buy them from somebody who builds cars? Did you build it yourself? Like, what do you think has led to so many challenges over this last year and a half?
Well, I think that this car was just built a little bit tighter. It is one of my dad's cars. It's a 19. It was built for a guy, and he ended up buying it and never racing it. It just sat in his garage. So we bought it back and turned this into a Pro Stock. I believe it was an IMCA mod, but it could have been a UMP mod at the time that I can't remember. But it was just, I think, built a little bit tighter, and it doesn't flex as much as my old car. My old car, it's a 2012 and it's fast, and it knows its way around. So it just worked a little bit better. And this one, I think, just is a little bit of a tighter car. So it's an adjustment for me personally. So just trying to get something that works for me is a little tough, but we're on the right track, I think.
So let's talk about Friday's race. $1,000 to win. It's a special. Mount Pleasant is kind of in that same boat as a lot of racetracks, and I've talked about this in previous shows, that I think fans and race car drivers and promoters kind of need to tailor their expectations of what car counts are going to look like now, and sometimes you're going to have to take quality over quantity. I think that's what you had Friday at Mount Pleasant. Talk about your day, because you actually posted in the middle of the day, like, hey, we won a heat race. Maybe we're getting somewhere finally. Mm-hmm. And you roll off fourth in that feature. It's a short feature too. So just kind of talk about your mindset going into the afternoon there at Mount Pleasant.
Oh, goodness. I was actually in a pretty bad mindset going into the race. I had some unfortunate things happen that day. But I just went and got my mind off of it. And I really wasn't expecting much. I did have my little mini wedge driver, Lily, draw for me, and she drew amazing. She drew the number 11. And I'm like, man, that seems pretty lucky. Maybe we'll have a good night. And yeah, then kind of the first lap of the heat race, I'm like, you need to get in it, because I was not driving the car like I should, but I figured it out pretty quick and was able to pull that win out over Rob, which he thinks is so funny, but I can't let him have one. So
well, I want you to break that feature down too, because rolling off fourth, you got to second really quick. Actually, I think lap 1, 3 wide move out of 2, you're in second, and then you got to track down the leader, right? You got to run him down. And this racetrack, it's tough to know because I wasn't there, just watching the cell phone footage that we found. It looks like there's kind of one groove that's really good, and maybe you could move around a little bit, and then you make something happen on the top of the racetrack. Kind of talk about running him down and analyzing. I assume you're analyzing where you're going to try to make this pass if you get a chance to.
Yeah, I did start off fourth. In the first corner, we went in there, and Mackenzie actually, I think, had something break in the left front. He shoved way up, and his whole tire was not right. So he kind of shoved up, and the guy underneath me left me a lane right in the middle. So I scooched my way through it right in there, and I was able to run Mike down. It took a couple laps, but we did get it. And then he was just running the bottom, which he did tell me after the race that he wasn't sure kind of where he should be running, which when you start a race in first, it's very hard to know where the right lane is. And he left me that top groove, and I prefer the high side. So if you leave me that and it works, and I'm going there. So it was just kind of, he left the lane and I was pretty fast. So we went right around him, then led the rest.
And that's all it took, man. 15 laps too. What race? How long are the races normally for pro stocks? Is 15 a pretty short one?
Yeah, it's normally 20 laps. I actually didn't even know that it was 15.
That's what it says on MRP, at least.
Huh. Yeah, it did seem like it went kind of quick because we only had one caution. But even then, I'm like, we still got quite a bit of laps left. And then we threw the white like very shortly after. And I'm like, man, that seemed kind of quick. But normally they are 20 laps. So that is kind of surprising. Maybe it was just car comp.
Yeah, pro stocks, A feature, 15 laps, according to the results on Mount Pleasant. You've got drivers in this field like Tim Raby, Rob Putt, just to name a couple of other ones in there that I know are really good in pro stock competition. Obviously, as you said, getting around Michael. I think you're right. I think something was broken Willis's car just from looking at the way that started. So you get to the front. What changes about the way that you handle a race when you're going from tracking somebody down to being out front?
Oh, goodness. Just making sure that I don't mess up, because I have done that before. And then it's like, dang it. But yeah, just making sure that I hit my marks and keeping the pace up, not slowing down, because that happens too, is the leader can slow down. And I have a hard time sometimes keeping myself under control and like keeping the composure good. So it was just mostly hitting my marks. That was
when you finally put that thing in victory lane, the checkers are out and you're pulling down there. Man, how's that make you feel after all the efforts you've been putting in? I mean, did you just kick that monkey off your back as far as you could?
Oh, I almost cried. I was so emotional. I was like, oh my gosh, it's finally happened, because my dad put it in victory lane and I was so proud of him. He did an amazing race a couple weeks before, and I've just been struggling so bad. I haven't gotten a win since last year, and I think I really only got the one, and it was really tough, but I took the checker and I was just so happy. I was like, I really couldn't believe it.
I want to take a quick second here to say thank you to our interview sponsor tonight. That is, of course, Extreme Indoor Kart Racing. And this is a place I talked to AJ a couple of weeks ago, Rich. We might make this happen. Horsepower Happenings Grudge event at Extreme Indoor Kart Racing. I might have to hire a driver because you have a weight advantage on me, Richard. So we'll see what happens. Race at Michigan's fastest indoor go-kart track with thundering gas-powered go-karts capable of speeds of up to, now just chill out, because not everybody's a Danielle Robinson. Speeds of up to 40 miles per hour, Rich. When you're on one of those go-karts and you're dragging the ground, feels like you're hauling the mail, okay? Whether you're a seasoned pro or a beginner, their indoor kart track and inclusive kart options offer an unparalleled racing adventure that will leave you hungry for more. Check them out online, EIKR.net, Extreme Indoor Kart Racing, EIKR.net. And check out about how you can get a private event hosted right there at Extreme Indoor Kart Racing. Again, find out more online, EIKR.net. Cool place that we're going to have to check out, Rich, before the season is all said and done. I'm gonna ask, and this is the only question we're going to ask about this. Danielle, you mentioned you had something going on, and I'm not asking you to dive into all that, but when there's other weight of the world on your shoulders, going to the racetrack, first of all, you talked about having to get your mind right, but then with the weight of the world still existing, going to victory lane, is it just kind of a brief moment of clarity, and is that what kind of led to all the emotions coming down on Friday?
Yeah, it's really hard when things are going on for me personally to get my mind in the right place, because if I don't feel good, then I don't normally race good, which is really hard for me to differentiate. But just having that happen, it was just a good thing. And it made my day so much better. It just felt very, very good. So it was good. I needed that.
So now how do you carry this into the rest? Like, okay, so now do you race again on Saturday, and are you right back to, this damn race car? Or, how do you continue to build on this, right? Like you get the win. Now we got to pile them on now.
I hope so. I did race on Saturday at Crystal, and that was a little bit tough for me because we have not figured out a setup for slick when the track is just glassed over. I can't drive on it, and the car does not like it right now. We haven't figured out a good setup for it. I'm pretty good when the track has something to get a hold of. So I think at this point now we just need to figure out that setup and keep moving forward. And hopefully we can pick up a couple more wins this year.
I want to talk to you. I knew I was going to get to this because you are in my social media feed all the time. And it's about, and let's talk about this. You get products and you try them out and you kind of share them with everybody. First, tell me how you got into that and how do you decide on these products that you're going to try? Because some of them I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, sometimes I do get some weird stuff, but that's okay. But one day I was just kind of like, why not? I should just start posting and kind of put myself out there and see what happens. And I've gotten a lot of great things coming out of it. It honestly has put me out there. Like people just know more about me, and it helped me get into Race Chick, which was really awesome. That is a huge opportunity for me. And I do get some products sometimes, and I like reviewing things because it's fun, but sometimes they are really, really weird. But TikTok, that's how I get all those things usually. And sometimes they will reach out to me via email. But
I wanted to ask you about the Racer Chick thing too, because it's more than, you're representing more than a Danielle Robinson brand. You're representing a brand that represents women in motorsports. So talk about that partnership and how you've taken that on.
Yeah, I actually love Race Chick. I've used them for a lot of years prior. I really like their suits because they really are it's made for women, and a man's suit is not quite as good for a woman's body. We're shaped differently. So it's just a little bit harder to find something that works, but I really like them. And luckily I was accepted into their ambassador program pretty much because of my following that I started to gain on Facebook and TikTok. So that was really cool. And I love their brand. I love their everything. Like they target women, they provide for women, and I love that they do that. It just gives kind of us a little bit of an out.
What I think is cool for you, and we don't get that with a lot of our guests, because a lot of our guests, we've had some here and there that are very involved with social media, and some that just don't even want to have it or want anything to do with it. But with everything that you do, it shows a personality side of the drivers that normally we don't get to see very often. And with the helmet on, race fans don't get to see that. And I think that kind of gets you in front of all your fans to say, look, I'm just a girl too who loves cool things. I just happen to drive a race car.
Yeah, I totally agree. I personally love showing my personality, and you're right. Not a lot of people get to see that because we're just in the pits. We work on our cars, we go out and race, and that's all they see. They don't know who the driver is. So it's really cool to put it out there.
And the other part of this is I watch your content for two reasons. One, racing. Two, the baking side of your content. I love that. That is so cool. I've sent a couple of your videos to my wife. I'm almost sure of it. Because that's the other side of Danielle Robinson that we don't get to know is what you do with the oven. Talk about that.
Yeah, I love baking sourdough. I cannot bake anything else, so don't ask me to.
Oh, it's specifically sourdough.
Yeah, I am not good at other baking, only sourdough bread, which is kind of crazy.
You can't bake a chocolate chip cookie even?
No, I can't. I've tried and they do not turn out good.
I got that. Isn't sourdough the one that like lives? Isn't that the type that you have to feed?
Yeah.
Makes no sense to me.
It stays in a jar, and yeah, you have to feed it flour and water. A lot of people ask me to bake them bread, which I don't got that. I don't got the time for that or the space. But
I think there was a jalapeno cheddar bread you were talking about at one point. That caught my attention. So anyhow, back to I'm fantasizing about the jalapeno cheddar bread. So back to the racing. Danielle, we talked a little bit about your sister Kody. She's in here, says that you're number one. Love that in the live chat. Danielle Robinson, number one, all caps. How has that been for you? being competitors, but also you've got the big sister role. How has that been?
Oh, well, it's not our first time. We did do, I think it was a year in the 4-cylinder together also. So we're not new to it. It is definitely better now that we're older, because I feel like when we were a little bit younger, it was a little bit like yapping to each other. But now that we're older, it's definitely better. She is an amazing driver and she deserves so much. And I am so proud of her. Honestly, I like seeing her win more than myself, because it's the big sister in me. I want her to do good, and it hurts me when she does bad and when she's upset. So I always want to see her do good. And if we could go 1-2, I mean, that would be great. But me, maybe on the one sometimes.
Right. Are you going to make her switch cars with you?
No. No, she can keep that car. People have asked me that too, and I am like, absolutely not. That's her car. I'll figure this out. We got it. It's all good.
Do you kind of embrace that challenge? Like, to figure that car out? Do you embrace that challenge?
I do like a challenge, but this challenge has taken a long time. So it really could wrap it up now, but.
We've got a Facebook comment on here. Fellow driver Oliver Hilliard wants to know, who is working on the car more? How much time do you put in on working on the car, or does Dad kind of handle that throughout the week? Who's turning wrenches on that thing?
It's a little bit of both of us. I'm out here a lot, probably more than what people think. But if he has time, he will, of course, help me, just because he knows what he's doing, and he is very good setup wise. So he will help me out. Anything motor wise, though, he definitely handles for sure. But I'm usually turning the wrenches, doing the maintenance, doing the washing, making the setup changes if we need to. And of course, he's there to help me when I need help. And if he has spare time, then he will absolutely help for sure.
So how much is this going to help the driver this weekend? Is that going to finally are you going to get up on the seat a little more and kind of get up on the wheel and be a little more positive instead of, oh, I wonder what I have this race? Just go after it and get them, have some fun.
Yeah, I hope so. Friday, I'm actually going to be at Winston, so a little bit nervous there because I've never been on that track, but I love trying new things. So hopefully that goes well. And then we'll be at Merritt too. So that I know that place, so I should be able to get around it.
Well, we've got a lot of people in here, and even Greg commented that you have a lot of fans. What's that been like? You've got merch now as well that you're pushing, and I think that you were always very recognizable, and that you had fans from what I remember when I was going to Merritt. Rich, you remember when we were going there with American Ethanol, we would see the love that she had from the fans, but it seems like that is just continuing to grow. What has that been like for you?
Oh gosh, I love seeing my fans and meeting them. I honestly have so many little girls that are obsessed with me, and honestly, I love it because it just makes me feel like a role model. But then I almost feel a little bit of pressure that I need to be good and be better than what I am right now. But I really appreciate it, and honestly, I just love meeting them. And there are quite a bit of people that enjoy me these days, which is really nice.
And I got to tell you, and I think some of it, you can take a little bit of responsibility for this. All the ladies that are running these days, but Zach and I have done the awards for the Michigan Auto Racing Fan Club banquet for these kids in the go-karts and the mini wedges and stuff. And there is an increasing number of little young ladies in these mini wedges and the go-karts. And that's got to make you feel good to see them getting started that early.
Yeah, absolutely. The more girls that we can get into this sport, the better, because honestly, it was predominantly men when I first started. And I didn't have the respect at the time from a lot of my fellow competitors that I do now, but it was a little bit harder to get into it at that time just because the times were a little bit different and it was a little bit less known for a girl to be in a car. But now I feel like it's more known and it's respected, and we're getting a lot of these little girls and these women that want to get into a car and race, which is amazing.
Do you feel like you get raced, and how do you want it to be? I always think this is interesting. Like, do you want to be raced differently, or do you just want to be treated as another competitor out there on the racetrack?
Oh, I just want to be treated as another competitor. I can handle my own, but as long as you treat me with respect, then we're good. I will treat you with respect. So that's just fine by me.
Perfect. 20 features this year. Of those, 11 top 10s, 8 top 5s, and you've cracked the win column. And it's July 13th, so you've got about another 2 months ish to get those totals up. So looking forward to seeing what you do the rest of the year. We don't all get a chance to hear Victory Lane interviews if there are any. I know Friday night at Mount Pleasant, probably not. So we want to give you an opportunity to thank some sponsors, thank some people. Treat this as your Victory Lane moment, Danielle, and let people know who you appreciate.
Oh gosh. Well, of course I appreciate my dad. He gives me everything, and he is my biggest supporter, really. So him with Extreme Chassis. I have to thank Dave Bone Trucking, Galgosi Oil, Gillings Trucking, Tommy Bauer Excavating, Blackhurst Painting, and Sugar Springs Marine. They all help me get on the track every single week, and they help sponsor this car. So that's really awesome. And I also have to thank my Uncle Lee, because every time I go to Crystal, he's parked next to me, and he is giving me tips when I'm alone there usually. So that is really helpful too. And he's there for me all the time. But yeah.
Okay, we got a couple of more comments that came in here late, and I want to make sure that you get a chance to respond to them, if so be it. Let's see here. Roger, of course, this is Shut Up Roger, says she is such an inspiration to the little girls in the stands. I think that's great. I think that's nice. And I feel like, Rich, all the girls, all the women that we've had on this program before, I think have been really good role models for the next generation. Let's see here. Mark just says, this is awesome, Danielle. Ashley gets on here and says, I'll have you know, Danielle.
I like this one.
Our girls give Curtis Rice the most crap when they get beat by a girl. Do you love hearing that? Like, do you like hearing that guys are getting ribbed? Or like, what is your take on that?
Oh, absolutely. I think it's hilarious. I like to give them all the crap, which is just, it's so funny anyways. But when the kids are involved, they know what's up. They will tell you how it is, and it is hilarious.
That's awesome. Now, did you at one time, I don't remember if it was you or somebody else that had like, you just got passed by a girl or something on their spoiler. Do you have anything on there like that?
No, I don't. I got a sponsor back there.
Okay.
That could have been Megan, possibly Megan Wiggins.
Oh, it might have been. It might have been. Okay, very good.
I remember seeing that too.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was. Yeah, it might have been. All right. Well, very good, Danielle. Congratulations on getting the win. Keep chasing that race car. We know that you've got the speed. Now you got to find it in the race car. So good luck.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, the MadMax Moment with Mason Hannagan's coming up straight ahead. This is the Horsepower Happenings podcast.
Make sure your brand stands out from the crowd with Madman signs and designs. Flashy, clean, color, or simplistic, Madman signs and designs can make sure your race car, business vehicle, merchandise, or even your iRacing rig looks exactly how you dreamed it would. Get designs that help your brand, team, or business stand out from the crowd with the Madman at Madman Signs and Designs. Call 517-647-9573 or find Madman Signs and Designs on Facebook.
Mark News is back. Michigan Area Racing Connection News keeps fans in the tri-state area up to date on national headlines, local results, regional news, and so much more. Home of the Horsepower Happenings podcast, 500 Sprintcast, Gridline Social, Job Bank, Fastlane Images, KG Media, and so much more. MarkNews.org is the one stop for any race fan who needs to know what's going on in the Michigan area. Plus, get the Mark News weekly newsletter sent right to your inbox, FREE free. Sign up today and learn more at MarkNews.org. MarkNews.org, the Michigan Area Racing Connection.
KG Media is your home for all things photography, race day social media, and more. Kody Geyer brings more than a decade of experience working with the top brands in short track racing. From individual photos to full race days, social media to PR, KG Media can make your race team, race track, or touring series stand out. For more information, go to marknews.org or visit KG Media on Facebook.
One of the biggest question marks for your event is, what are we going to do for food? Heavenly Smoked Barbecue is your answer. Serving Michigan and Northern Indiana, Heavenly Smoked Barbecue brings the best from the grill to your plate with pulled pork, pork belly, chicken, mac and cheese, baked beans, and more. Graduation open house, birthday parties, weddings, festivals. If it needs food, Heavenly Smoked Barbecue will offer options that will have them saying, that smells heavenly. Call 269-908-3948 or find Heavenly Smoked Barbecue on Facebook.
The Horsepower Happenings podcast is Michigan's short track racing authority. For nearly a decade, Horsepower Happenings has given race fans a chance to hear directly from their favorite drivers, local track owners, and promoters. Horsepower Happenings is the only podcast keeping fans engaged with Michigan area racing for 52 weeks a year. Don't miss the Horsepower Happenings podcast live on Facebook every Monday night at 6:30 and available everywhere you enjoy podcasts. Visit horsepowerhappenings.com and follow on Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube.
2. Welcome back to the Horsepower Happenings podcast. It's always the MadMax moment that things go off the rails. This is, of course, presented by Williams Seal Coating and Paving. We'll talk more about them coming up in just a moment. It's our pleasure to welcome in 4-time defending Great Lakes Super Sprint Series champion Max Stambaugh and current Ohio Cat / South Division points leader Mason Hannagan. Gentlemen, welcome in.
Max, you first.
That's your deal. You're points. You're supposed to go first. But hey, Zach, Rich, I'm Monday night, day full of truck driving, followed by working in the race shop, trying to improve, our year right now. So been on the go here lately, and looking forward, to this week. A lot of racing on TV, and Zane DeVault just had a really good lap at Fremont. Hoping he can carry on a good night here, and we'll be at Lima Friday and then spectating at Eldora.
Yeah, we've got obviously Fremont going on right now, so we'll try to get you guys out of here, but we got to do this commitment first. Max, Rich was ribbing you a little bit. You're in some rare territory right now, and one of the guys that's put you there, we wanted to get on the program. We talked to him last year when he kind of made a splash doing such a good job in his 360 debut. And now he's backed that up, a run for the Rabbit winner, and now he's done his job to take the South points lead from you. And that's, of course, Mason Hannagan. And I know that this is a guy you've been kind of watching for some time.
Yeah, it's funny. I think we talked to Mason a year or two ago, and, I grew up chasing his dad, in the 22 with the NRA series. And, me and him had a lot of good races when I was driving for Ron Hammonds. And now Mason, for the amount of races he's come in, and the job he's doing is phenomenal, right? So wanted to get him on the show. He took the South lead, and he's really, really running good. Qualifies well, consistently putting nights together, something that I'm not doing. And wanted to tell me, see if he'll tell me what he's doing to that race car. So Mason, what's going on, man?
What's going on? Happy to be here,
dude. So let's talk about Circle City. That's kind of a home game for you, right? I didn't like getting off the highway. We somehow took a detour ourselves, but the racetrack was awesome.
Steve was just sidebar. Steve was so mad at me. I said, "Did you read your email?" Well, no. I said, "I tried to help you, brother."
Yeah. So Mason, what's it been like this year, man? Clicking off a Rabbit win. It took me 10 years to do that. And the speed you have right now, how are things gelling and what's going on?
Yeah, I don't know. Me and Dad put a lot of time and effort into this thing this off season. Obviously, we had to clip it after Eldora, and I think after that, it's like it woke it up. We definitely we put a lot of time into freshening everything up and just getting everything as it should be, and kind of just starting our program from scratch. Upgraded trailers, had to get spares of everything. When Dad got out of it years ago, obviously he didn't keep much. So, we just kind of spent all kind of the end of last year and a little bit of this year just basically rebuilding. Obviously working with Joe and Jared Forstman, and I don't know, honestly. We just kind of freshened everything up, and I feel comfortable. Like I told Dad, I said, honestly, I don't know what it was last year. I just never felt that comfortable. And obviously we couldn't qualify. And then, first night of the year this year, we hot lapped and I got out and I'm like, hey, I felt okay. and I looked at the times, and I think we were second overall in hot laps out of 36 cars, and I'm like, oh, okay, all right. And I mean, the night just as everybody's seen it, it clicked for us. Granted, everybody looks at the results, and we start off the pole, but John Ivy smoked me off the start, and honestly, I had to earn it. I've never been put into that situation before. Obviously never led a wing sprint car race in my life other than that night. And, yeah, I don't know. We were the best finish we had all year last year was 11th. And then, yeah, so it was a completely different, situation for me. And I was tracking someone down for the lead, and it was different, and honestly, it took a minute to realize that we won. They called the 101 down to the front straightaway. I'm like, man, I don't remember that guy passing me. And, but I mean, it's great. Yeah, huge thank you to Joe and Jared, and obviously my dad. If it wasn't for my dad, no way. Yeah, we've just spent a lot of time freshening everything up and putting together a solid race car and just making sure we're balanced and making sure that we're comfortable.
Yeah, that's half the battle, right? So like, let's go to the other side of it with myself. I would say it's no surprise. Like, our results right now are not where, we have been the last 5 years together. And you get to a spot like we're on the other side of Mason and his dad where, I'm not comfortable. We're struggling. We're putting everything at it we can. And we have found things the last couple of weeks. And, I'm not even blaming it on the new tire at this rate. But that's the best part of racing, right, Zach? Like, we got a young gun leading us out points, and we got an older guy like me. I hate to even say that because that makes me feel really old. But
hey, your age still starts with a Q, man. You're all right.
Right? How cool is it right now with the situation in our series? We have a lot of talented guys that are coming through the ranks. And guys, I think I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I don't think we're going to see Mason in a 360 forever. Mason's going to climb up the ladder. And he's doing a really good job. But Zach, what do you think? What's your thoughts on this rundown so far?
Well, I think it's great. And, obviously, you and I are buddies and we talk all the time, but I told you this. I said, they're going to start coming for you, right? I mean, when you are defending the championship as long as you have, somebody's going to start coming for you. And Mason, I don't know, like, how much do you and your dad talk about what you guys are doing? Is this just go out there and try to win races and do the best you can with every opportunity you got? Or are you guys conservative in what you guys are doing? What does the game day look like between you and your dad?
There really isn't one. Like when we're done racing, whatever, we got done racing Friday night, really early, and it was great. Got home, 30-minute drive. But luckily, hey, everybody else gets to know what it's going like from here to Lima every week, but I can't complain.
He's already defensive. We didn't even have to say anything about our 3.5 hour drive, did we?
Yeah, no, I mean, it was good. I enjoyed it, and I'm glad that like you said, they want to have us back a couple of times. I thought the racing was really great after I watched the replay. I thought lap traffic really shook it up. Like, it made it interesting. Like, even when I got the traffic, I'm like, man, I gotta cut through here pretty quick, or I'm gonna lose more spots. But other than that, like, it's just normal, like I got home, I washed till about 2 a.m. Dad wasn't a part of that. It was well past his bedtime. I started to maintenance Saturday a little bit, golfed, as Max probably would too. Did a little bit of maintenance yesterday, worked today, and then got home and start working on this thing here a little bit. And
but so my question is, Mason, like, are you and your dad, when you go to the racetrack on Friday, are you talking about like, hey, we're shooting for a podium here and we'll be happy, or we're looking for top 5 here, or are you guys rolling in going, we're going to win this thing?
Yeah, I mean, like I told him, I'm not. He knows we're both competitive. Like, every one of us are competitive. My mom, my dad, my whole family, right? My dad won quite a bit when he was racing, no matter what he drove. And I feel like, I don't know. I want to win every time I hit the racetrack. Like, I mean, I'm young, obviously, and that's just how it is. Like, you want to win every time you hit the racetrack. It don't matter if it's hot laps, qualifying, heat race. obviously you don't want to be in the meat main, but if you have to, you want to win that too. Yeah, we just show up and we just try to do our best genuinely. And we did that. We started doing that last year, just try to make some laps, and we're just trying to make laps now, honestly. That's just the best way to put it. We're just trying to make some laps, and I'm trying to learn how to get better for them. And yeah, we don't really talk a whole lot about what we're doing or nothing, like it's definitely cool, like to be running with him and to be running good with my dad as my crew chief. It's huge, and my driver coach. I wouldn't want it any other way, obviously. And yeah, it's honestly a huge family effort too. My grandfather comes to the races, my grandfather and my grandmother, and they're there to support. And my grandfather, he works his butt off. So yeah, it's just cool right now. I'm happy to have the speed, and it's racing. Anything can happen. We could suck this week, and you know what I mean. So we just take it week by week and try to make sure your car's ready to go, 100% checked down, and yeah, we just try to show up and do our absolute best.
Mason, we just had on the program, we just had Danielle Robinson, a pro stock driver up here in Michigan, picked up her first win, and she said she wasn't comfortable all year long until this weekend. And now she's feeling pretty good about going back racing next weekend. You even though you want to go out and win every race, of course, all drivers want to go out and get every race, but when you win a big race like that, it's got to kind of put you up on the steering wheel and say, man, I can race with all these guys.
Yeah, it was huge for me. It was kind of an eye opener. Like, obviously we won, and there was a lot of cars that night. We had Caleb Henry show up. I had to race John Ivy for the win, and that dude's been doing it twice the time I've been alive. So to chase him down was one thing, and yeah, I don't know. I'm comfortable. Other than a few complaints here or there every once in a blue moon. Yeah, it's just the biggest thing is just consistency. I feel like you do the same thing, as long as you're good, as long as you do the same thing and you're repetitive on it and making sure your stuff's always good, then you'll be fine. You just the driver's got to do its job half the time. I've always told Dad that. I said, I don't think it's the car. I said, I just think it's me. I'm inexperienced. I haven't been put into the deep waters like half these guys have. Like, I've watched Max pretty much half my life. So, and I've seen him go through the tough times, and I've seen him win a lot, and, it's part of racing, so it's great. I wouldn't want it any other way. Like, you're going to lose. We tore a race car up at Lawrenceburg and tore a lot of stuff. And I was pretty frustrated, just because of how much time and effort and money we've put into this thing. And, it made me realize it's, you went from winning one week to you're not even finishing, 10 laps into the A main at Lawrenceburg. So, yeah, you just gotta stay humble and focus on working hard.
Max?
I follow Mason. We did iRacing together for a long time, and when it comes to working in the shop, also too with Randy, your dad, and then Joe and Jared, they've been doing this for a long time as well. So you got the right people in your corner to, make this deal work. Mason, let's talk about a goal for you in your racing career. Like, what's the limit for you? Is sky the limit, or you want to be a regional guy? Or, obviously we all have the dreams of, well, we used to make it at that big time, but what would you be happy with making it in your career?
I truthfully think, the Outlaws, like everybody. I don't know. Time will tell. Like, I think I can make it with time. Obviously I'm going to need a lot more laps. But that's my goal. If I can make it there and be competitive, then I'd be happy and content with it. But I want to win. That's my problem. So it's like, no matter what I do, I expect from the get go to win. So, and it's kind of unrealistic in some of the situations you're put in. But you just got to do the best of your ability every time you hit the racetrack. So, like you said, though, goal wise, I'd definitely love to make it to the Outlaws, and did what my dad did for a long time. And obviously you couldn't ask for a better guy to kind of guide you through it and hopefully get you there one day.
I love that you always, every interview that we've had with you, you recognize what a legend your dad is, which I think is great. We were talking about that as a staff over the weekend that, hey, Randy Hannagan, man, he's a legend, but he's just another guy in the pits, right? You just gotta, remember that. But what is the mindset like now that you're in this situation where you're leading a championship point standings? Does that matter to you? Are you looking at that at all? I mean, obviously we're looking at it as a series because it's our job to promote that. But does that do anything to your mindset on race day?
No, honestly, no. Like it should, it really should. But no, my goal is just my number one goal is not to tear anything up and not to tear anybody else's stuff up. That always was like, you just got to take it race by race. It don't really matter point wise. You know what I mean? Like even if we were running the whole deal between Michigan and Ohio, you just got to take it race by race. And I don't really care about the points. It's just, I care about making laps and just kind of doing the best we can. And the points deal is cool, obviously. Right. So it's actually nothing I've ever done before. Like even in the micro deal, we never ran for points or anything like that. I ran weekly at US 24 and we were like third one year. And I never really realized it until the end of it, and hopefully we get there. But the last two races I think are at Millstream and Mansfield, and it's like, it probably won't set in till the last race there. If we're close still, you know what I mean? Things could change in the last 4 or 5 races, how many we got left. So, yeah, it don't really bother me. I have fun doing it. I think it's cool. I think it's cool to do it with Max, Chase. We had Van there. He's in the points still. And, it's just cool for me, honestly. It's more a cool factor. And it's like, man, this is to see it kind of highlighted for everybody out on social media is one thing. Because I've never really been promoted a whole bunch. Haven't really done anything spectacular. So, yeah, it's just cool. Everything that's happened this year, it's been really cool, and to see the support and even the fellow racers and whatnot, congratulating me and all that stuff. So, yeah, it's just been cool. It's been a really cool year. Obviously, we've had our ups, and obviously we had our downs there at Lawrenceburg and Lima, honestly. But yeah, it's just been cool. It's been great, and yeah, hopefully we can continue it.
Mason, we talk to a lot of guys at this point in the season and later every year, and we start talking about points, right? Because it's getting it starts getting closer to the end. And I like the philosophy that most of them, and kind of sounds like that's what we're just going to go race, and if we win, the points will take care of themselves. I mean, if you start running for points, now you're going to start racing and driving differently, and you're going to start counting cars, and that's not how most drivers race throughout the season. And I think that's a pretty strong way of thinking about it. If you just race for wins every week, the points will take care of themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And I didn't know the point format till honestly today. I seen an email from Zach saying we got points from Lima, and I'm like, oh, all right. I'm like, well, I'm gonna go look. I just got to go look. And yeah, I don't know. It's just part of it. You got to go race, and the points, like you said, they'll take care of themselves. But the number one goal is we're there to race and we're there to win that night. And then the points are the points. If something happens, something happens. If you win, you win. And the points will show that. So, yeah, it's just it's cool. And yeah, I don't know. It's different for me, honestly. It'll be a test, hopefully we can next couple nights, I think Lima and Eldora, we can just put some solid nights together. And I definitely like to run good at Eldora. So yeah, we'll see.
Max, we got a question in the Facebook comment lands here, and I think you touched on it a little bit at the beginning, but I guess elaborate. What is your take on how Mason's doing just 2 seasons into a 360 sprint car, from his experience running micros and midgets and things of that nature?
Yeah, like I said, I mean, we can rewind this to him out at the Chili Bowl too. He's a wheel man, up and comer, that's the thing that I think earlier this year, Zach, we talked about was we need them up and comers coming into the sport, because it kind of seemed for a while like we were floating around with, maybe not having that. And I think Mason's filled the void. Mason's very talented for how old he is, and he, hasn't raced even that much yet. So I think it's even going to get better for him. And the best thing about it is he thinks I'm cool, right? So like he said today in his interview, I'm cool. I'm glad that this old guy is still cool. That kind of made my night for the night.
Well, and Noah, I don't know if he did you dirty or not, but he put a clip up from Shady Hill of Mason walking you down the backstretch. So firsthand experience of how he's doing in a race car. But like, does this do anything for you, Max? Like when you see somebody come in, obviously you talked about, chasing Randy for as long as you did. Can you learn anything from Mason, like watching what he will do with a sprint car, because it is a fresh perspective?
Yeah, I mean, Mason, any driver, I think you're always learning, right? Our struggles right now is, I've questioned driving, I've questioned setup in the race car, and you always come back and you got to tell yourself, there's one good thing about racing, Zach, is, there's always another race. So, I had to talk with Steve, and I'm actually up here today getting everything situated. And, the best thing about it for us, like Mason said, so there's a lot more racing left. We're basically halfway through the year. And, in 2022, when I teamed up with Smith Motorsports, this was about when we, hit our stride. And I think that's a good thing for everybody. Also, we've had a frustrating year, but I think reality is good for everybody. You get on a high, sometimes it's good to find out you got to go back to work and, start working on things. Dunham's been really good this year. Mason's been really good. It's really crazy if you look at the results this year of the guys that's won races.
Only one guy has more than one win this year.
And that's crazy, and that's awesome for the sport, right? Like, I can be a negative Nancy every day of the week, but at the end of the day, I'm a race fan. And when you see that on your stat line, like, that's pretty cool. I think going forward, like he said, Lima's coming up. We got Eldora, Mansfield, they got their track turned around. It looks awesome. Millstream, we all know how that goes. It's going to come down, to the line. And like he said, it's all about putting together consistent races. And the good thing about Mason already for a young age, which, Randy might laugh, I kind of used to be a little bit of a hothead when I was younger and slide or die type missions, and Mason's already put together, you can race around Mason and not have to worry about, a cheap shot move. And I think Jared, Dustin Daggett and the, Greg Dahlman and these older guys in our sport, they respect that a lot more when you get a guy out there that,
Mason, is that intentional, Mason, to race those guys that way? Like what Max is saying, to have control of your car and not just throw it in there and hope for the best?
Yeah, I mean, it's just I don't understand the kids or even the older guys that race dirty, or racing hard's one thing, racing dirty's another. I work on my stuff. I take care of my stuff, and I know how much this stuff costs. And, and I've been on the receiving end, and I've also messed up. And Dad's preached it to me. Like, even when I do mess up, he's hard on me. Like, even I hit Chase Dunham last year. Like I want to say it was my first race, literally. And I hit him in the back bumper going into one. And I honestly didn't know it until he was like halfway sideways. And I went up to Chase and I said, dude, honestly, I did not mean to hit you. I said, I'm just trying to figure out where my nose is at. I said, I fully apologize. Like, it was not intentional at all. And he's like, oh, dude, you're good. Like, I get it, because like everybody's been there. Everybody's had to learn one way or another. But yeah, the biggest thing for me, it's not intentional. It's racing clean, racing hard. I love racing the guys I do, like I race them clean. I want to race them as hard as I can, but I want to race them clean, and I don't want to tear nobody's stuff up, because I know how much it costs. It's expensive, and, for the money we put into it, we get a decent amount back, but you never get back what you spend. And that's anything, right? That's national racing. It's anything you do. But I preached it to me. Dad has preached it to me from day one of racing. Just don't, you don't need to race like that. If I have to, I will, but I don't want to, like if somebody feeds you a wheel, it's fair game. You know what I mean? Like it's the part, like, and that's the biggest thing I learned in the midget. I only rented a handful times, but like Chili Bowl, like, hey bud, you better get after it. Like if someone's going to give you one, you better, give it back. But like I had the pleasure of racing with Jake Swanson, Gary Taylor, Matt Westfall, like a bunch of big names. And it was cool, and they raced me hard, but they didn't race me dirty. But that's the thing though. There's a bunch of kids out there now that will race you clean and that will race you hard. So yeah, it's just a part of it. And I thought
it was cool to see you and Graham standing at the top of 4, at Circle City, kind of hashing it out,
Yeah.
I think about Graham and you right now, kind of like what Max was saying, like who's coming through the ranks right now. I think Graham's one that we're gonna have to keep an eye on for a little while right there with you. So I think it's neat to see, like you guys already have a relationship and now you're climbing that ladder together.
Yeah, and we raced micros together, honestly. Not many people know that, but we did. Oh, Kel Thomas. Oh, that one. Sorry. Kel Thomas upside down. He's up in the concrete. Yeah, me and Graham raced.
Thanks for the Fremont spoiler there, Mason.
me and Graham raced quite a bit in 24, and we kind of met back then, and we talked a little bit last year. And once I figured out I knew what he was doing this year, we kind of talking a little bit more, and we always talk when we see each other at the racetrack. And he's a good kid, he races hard, and obviously this past weekend he races good. And I mean, honestly, he should have won already at Butler. In just a few starts. It's just, we're young and slightly dumb, like we were all once there. We just gas it and go. I'm not near as like just wide open and let it try to figure it out. And neither is Graham, like Graham went to Butler and a pretty technical racetrack and, did a really good job. So, but man, you watch some of these people and you're like, ooh, these guys are wide open. And it's like, you don't know what's going to happen. But I feel like Graham does a really good job. Obviously, he has a little bit less starts than me. I think he's honestly probably close. I think he's probably at 10. I think Friday was my 13th, all pretty much of last year and this year so far. And I feel like we're really close. He's really fast right now. And we're doing all right, and we could probably get a little bit better in places. But and like Max said, we're always learning. You never know. And me and Dad had this conversation the other day. You never stop learning. You could be, he's 59. He's old. He never stopped learning, and he hasn't raced since 24. But I feel like he's learned a lot since I've started racing, and he's kind of watched me. So, you just never stop learning, and it's a young guy sport now, kind of. But there are some old guys that do really well still.
Yeah, Mason, I'll tell you, listen to you. You got the right attitude, right, for a young racer coming up. And Max, I was going to ask you, Zach had mentioned, only one guy has won 2 races. Everybody else has won 1. Who's won? Is it a combination of like some of you guys maybe meeting in the middle and these young guys coming up? I mean, you always bring in one of the young guys on the show that's an up and comer. Are they catching up to you guys a little quicker than you thought?
Yeah, absolutely. The tire change, the everything, the way it's went, the rainouts this year, there's a lot of factors. Jared Horseman's hurt 3 motors, we've hurt a motor. Phil Gressman got a win and then hurt a motor. I think just the scenarios, like you said, Rich, it's the young guys, the young guns, right, gassing it, and then the guys, maybe we're not old yet, but we're trying to find that sweet spot again a little bit, and getting qualified is half the battle, right? So you gotta put yourself in position all night, and I can't qualify. Actually, I think I can qualify good still most times. Circle City, I threw a dud up, but That's our problem, Rich. We're just not consistent. Like, I mean, how many times have I been on here and preached that, right?
Well, you know what's funny about that, though, is you say that, and Chase Dunham leads the tour. You're second. No wins between either of you. Phil's third. He's got to win. McAllister Cat, Michigan Division. Dustin Daggett leads that, but he's got to win. You're second. No wins. Mason Hannagan leading the South. 1 win. You're second. No wins. Like, I think there's still an argument to be made to, you know, like you got Mason's mindset of just go out there and win. And then I think there's still an argument that if, you know, you're consistent, you're going to find one at some point.
Yeah, I think I mean it can't get much worse than where we've been for our standard, you know, and I hate to say it like that, but reality comes in and you got to work hard, you know, and the time in the shop is how these races are won. And, you know, maybe we've lacked on that. There's a couple things we've lacked on that we've saw. And, you know, that's why I'm up here tonight. You know, I get off work 10, 11 hours, drive up, work in the shop, take care of the kid with my old lady and go home. And you constantly think about racing, right? So you're a truck driver, you think all day, how do I get better? What is going on? You know, so I think we're going in the right direction after Friday. There's some things we're going to work on. My one buddy's been helping me out a little bit, trying to get me, you know, back in that, you know, fine tuning for me. And, you know, it's crazy to think, you know, 2015, I'm battling with Randy Hannagan to, you know, maybe win an NRA championship. And now I'm, you know, battling with Mason.
Hey, we just blew right past this, and I think this happened the last time. Want to say thanks real quick to Williams Seal Coating and Paving. If you've got issues with your parking lot or driveway, holes, cracks, or just tired of putting the stones back, call Williams Seal Coating and Paving. Improve the appearance of your business or home with seal coating and striping. Williams Seal Coating and Paving can handle commercial and residential projects, whether it's a new pave, milling and repaving, seal coating, or crack filling. Call Williams Seal Coating and Paving, 517-748-0490. That's 517-748-0490. Williams Seal Coating and Paving. Mason, we got one question in here from the Facebook chat that I want to get in. You've been talking about all the people that raced against your dad and now that you're racing against. And Eli wants to know, who is it that you look up to? I think it's kind of hard when you've got a guy like Randy Hannagan as your dad, but who do you look up to in this sport?
Other than my dad is Paul McMahon, honestly. I looked up to him for years upon years, and he raced with my dad forever. Right now, honestly, wouldn't say I look up to anybody. Between my dad and Paul is definitely them two. Joey Saldana was another. Obviously, we grew up really close to him, and I grew up close with his son. And yeah, it's been cool to live next to them guys and even get to know those guys. You know, it's like they race so long together, and at Chili Bowl, all three of them were hanging out and walking around, and so it's cool, you know. But definitely my dad, Paul McMahon, though, was my number one other than my dad.
And then I got to ask you this. There's been some chatter about what the rest of your schedule is going to look like, Mason. Do you have some things firmed up? Do you know what you guys are going to be able to do?
Yeah, I don't know.
I know that's part of the reason I was asking too. Is it looks like it's a little barren behind you.
Yeah, she's a little light. I'd have to Fred Flintstone this thing. Yeah, I don't know. We obviously with Joe and Jared's deal, we've had some misfortune. You know, and none of their wrongdoing or anything like that, just bad circumstances. And I think Joe's apologized to me a few times, and I told him, like, dude, it ain't your fault. Like, that's just a part of racing. Like, obviously, I would love to do the rest of the Ohio deal. It's not looking good at the moment. We don't have a motor, so you know, we got plenty of race cars and plenty of race car parts, but we just don't have a motor. What really shouldn't have been an issue turned into a big problem for us. You know, and Joe and Jared were prepared to do it this year and prepared to do 20 races for pretty much both of us. And they just had some bad deals there with motors, and it's a part of it, you know, and then it's expensive. So, yeah, we'll see, you know, hopefully I can figure something out for this weekend and kind of just really get through the rest of the Ohio stuff. And, you know, hopefully if something comes along, before then, you know, and we can run a couple Michigan races, I'd love to. You know, I was planning on going to Michigan a couple times this year with my schedule, and Just with all the stuff that's happened, we haven't been able to. So, yeah, hopefully we can figure something out for this Friday and going forward. Eldora twice and Mansfield and Millstream, and we'll see, and hopefully we make it Friday, and we may not. So just a part of it, and we'll try to figure it out.
I always try to do this when, we've had plenty of racers on this show that they are on the show because they've done something great. And then they say, yeah, but we're up against a rock and a hard spot. And we want to try to help because you never know who our stuff's going to come across. So Mason, if somebody's hearing this and they're like, man, we got to keep him in it. Got to try to keep Max Stambaugh at bay, even if it's just grudge against Max Stambaugh. We don't care if it's Mason Hannagan. We got to keep Max at bay. I'm just teasing you, Max. But if somebody wants to help out Mason, how can they do that? Or can they reach out to you and maybe talk about a deal or something?
Yeah, for sure. I'm open for anything, honestly. Even if it was somebody else's car. But the biggest thing is we need a motor right now, and we only need it for 5 nights or whatever it is, and I'm open to anything. If somebody has a motor, we could make something work for the rest of the year, or even if I had to drive somebody else's car, I'd be good with that too. So yeah, reach out to my personals, my phone number. Zach's got it,
I was gonna say, careful now.
I got the text today. And I'm like, this has to be Zach. There's no way this is anybody else.
Well, Mason, I appreciate you making time, man, and I hope you get something put together because I want to see you and the old guard race it out here in the South, and I think Max probably wants that too, buddy. I know you, and you want to see him be able to be on the racetrack too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Mason's done a really good job. So, if somebody out there's got something, and Randy knows a lot of people and Joe and Jared, and, I think the writing's on the wall. Mason's here to stay, and he's fast, and he's, a really good racer. So I hope he gets it figured out. I think he will. And, we'll hopefully see you at the next race.
All right, guys, I appreciate it. Nice job, Mason. And hopefully something comes together, and we'll see you Friday.
Yep. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
All right. Well,
yeah. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, for sure. Max, we'll see you.
See ya.
All right. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we still got one interview to go. Kody Johnson straight ahead here on Horsepower Happenings.
Think your camper handled the winter just fine? Think again. Every time the temperature fluctuates, trap moisture freezes and expands, turning tiny hairline cracks into major pathways for water. That freeze-thaw cycle is a silent killer for RV seals. If you haven't had a professional roof and exterior sealant inspection this spring, you're likely towing a leak you can't see yet. Midwest Camper Repair specializes in catching that winter damage before it reaches your interior. We're mobile and we check it all from the roof to the floor. Don't let a winter crack ruin your summer fun. Call Midwest Camper Repair today and start the season sealed tight. Call 419-799-1171. That's 419-799-1171. Or visit MidwestCamperRepair.com. Serving the tri-state area from the roof to the floor, Midwest Camper Repair has you covered.
KG Media is your home for all things photography, race day social media, and more. Kody Geyer brings more than a decade of experience working with the top brands in short track racing. From individual photos to full race days, social media to PR, KG Media can make your race team, racetrack, or touring series stand out. For more information, go to marknews.org or visit KG Media on Facebook.
One of the biggest question marks for your event is, what are we going to do for food? Heavenly Smoked Barbecue is your answer. Serving Michigan and Northern Indiana, Heavenly Smoked Barbecue brings the best from the grill to your plate with pulled pork, pork belly, chicken, mac and cheese, baked beans, and more. Graduation open house, birthday parties, weddings, festivals. If it needs food, Heavenly Smoked Barbecue will offer options that will have them saying, that smells heavenly. Call 269-908-3948 or find Heavenly Smoked Barbecue on Facebook.
Mark News is back. Michigan Area Racing Connection News keeps fans in the tri-state area up to date on national headlines, local results, regional news, and so much more. Home of the Horsepower Happenings podcast, 500 Sprintcast, Gridline Social, Job Bank, Fastlane Images, KG Media, and so much more. MarkNews.org is the one stop for any race fan who needs to know what's going on in the Michigan area. Plus, get the Mark News weekly newsletter sent right to your inbox, FREE free. Sign up today and learn more at marknews.org. MarkNews.org, the Michigan Area Racing Connection.
Welcome back to Horsepower Happenings. And our final guest of the evening picked up his first late model win at Crystal this weekend. Always great to have a first-time winner on the show. Kody Johnson, welcome into Horsepower Happenings.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Man, not exactly an easy field. You had some of the big names right behind you, and you were able to get it done. Talk about it.
Well, going into it, I felt like we had a good chance of winning. The car's been really good lately. Can't thank the guys at TNT enough for helping us get going. And yeah, basically once I started to work the bottom and the bottom started to get congested, I went to the top and I was able to pass on the top side. I knew we had a good piece. Basically just I was worried about keeping guys like Hilliker, Brent and Cone, them guys behind me. I know they have a lot more seat time than I do there.
You know, Hell Tour, before Hell Tour, they put down a bunch of new clay down there, and they worked it hard this week, right, for the Hell Tour race. What did you notice about the new clay down there?
Well, we ran the Hell Tour. We attempted to. We threw the Hoosiers on, and that was a whole nother animal. I wish we would have did a couple more sessions with them Hoosiers, but the track did have some bumps to it. But I will say it is getting better. They've been working at it quite a bit. Rod and the whole track prep team, it's been better. We would like for better results for the Summer Nationals, but the best guys in the business are there.
You know, this is 2 in a row kind of for team Yellow 55, if you will. You know, we talk about Kyle Hunt a couple of weeks ago. Maybe it's not 2 in a row, but you know, Kyle goes to victory lane a couple of weeks ago. Now you get it done here, Kody. And this is a little bit of a change for that group, obviously led by the Hall of Famer. Have you guys all hit on something here, or is it just kind of chance that you both have gone to victory lane, you know, recently? Like, what's going on in that camp?
Well, like I said, our stuff's been good kind of from the get-go. The first time in it, we tested at Mount Pleasant, and it was middle of the daytime. Track was burnt up. And that car rotated, had tremendous traction. Everything you could ask for. And I knew we had something going forward. Just a matter of getting more comfortable. And them heat races are a big deal. Coming from the IMCA world, where if you finish top 4 in your heat race, you're going to start, you know, towards the back regardless. So we had to, you know, start tuning better for the heat races. But no, everything we found, we relay back to Roger, and he's tuning cars for a couple different drivers. So there's that bit of a challenge there. Like I said, these TNT cars, they're really good. They're really good.
So how did this deal come together? And I kind of feel bad. You know, we've got you on, and you know, we didn't get Kyle on after he grabbed his win. But Kody, how did this deal come together with Roger? Obviously, Roger Wing. You know, we had a couple different drivers over the last couple of seasons, and you know, you'd been doing this IMCA deal. That's where I remember knowing you from is the IMCA modifieds. How does this deal come together between you and Roger?
It was kind of a shock to all of us. We were out working in the shop. I race out of here, work out of here, live out of here, and Roger just weaseled in one day and, you know, asked us if we'd be interested in driving his cars, and you know, can't thank the whole Wing family enough for the opportunity. It's been a great experience.
Does that give you, is that any, I mean, Roger's been around a long time and has raced everything. Is that a little more pressure when you hear him say that on your shoulder?
No, I don't think pressure. I put a lot of pressure on myself when we unload at any track, doesn't matter what car. Our main goal is to win. I'm very competitive. My dad tunes on these cars to make sure we're competitive all the time, and I think I put more pressure on myself, honestly, than what's expected out of me. And like I said, I'm very competitive. We are competitive in everything we do. That's about the gist of it, really.
So how do you stay within yourself? I mean, I looked at the lineup, you know, Thurlby was back there. He's coming forward, obviously. You know, Hilliker's, of course, you got to fight him off any night at Crystal, any time. Dylan Cohn's there. How do you stay within yourself and just continue just working your race car?
That's a great question. like I do have high expectations, like I said, from ourselves, but also our rookie year in the late model. I'm not out there to set the world on fire. Obviously, we want to, um, but it's my first night in it was kind of eye opening for me. We started, I think it was 18th, and the last restart, I want to say there's 4 or 5 laps to go, and I had Logan Nickerson on my inside, Travis Stemler in the row right ahead of us, and Thurlby right there, and it's like, all right, maybe we can hang with these guys, at least learn something, and try to make a showing of it for Roger.
How has the transition been? Like from the high horsepower, small tire, stock front clip, the rear end geometry, I'm going to lump it in there that it's very similar. But going to downforce is so important in these cars, or air,
Right.
I guess, air in general, so important in these cars, big tires, big horsepower, fully tubed frame. How has that been?
Well, like I said, our first seat in it was at Mount Pleasant, and it was dry. I mean, I really think our modified could have hung right with the track conditions. But our first race, the biggest thing I had to adjust for was the corner entry speed. I mean, you're carrying some speed going into the corner. And I'm not sure how familiar you are with Roger Wing's programs, but we're on a crate engine. I do think that is a benefit for us. I'm not spinning the tires, so I am used to the lower horsepower, trying to keep everything we got out of it. The harder tires, yeah, the late model tires are wider, but the bump stop and everything like that, we're a little bit different, but I'm happy with how quickly our team's grasped onto it, and no, it's been good.
I want to go back to this battle, not to beat a dead horse, but kind of like Rich said, I got a picture from Chris Johnston of you and Dylan Cohn side by side. You're racing your tail off. You start fifth, which I think, Danielle Robinson earlier in the show said Crystal kind of slicked off a little bit on Saturday, and she struggled with that. And when I hear that, I think, okay, if this thing's dry slick, we're probably not going to get a lot of passing. According to the results on MRP, that was anything but that. You come from fifth, Dylan second to second, Derek from seventh to third, Brandon 11 to fourth, Kyle 12 to 5, Luke 13 to 8. This surface, did that play into your hands, as you mentioned, having a crate? Did that help things?
Oh, for sure. I'm not a big heavy track person anymore. I used to be young, careless, stand on it and turn that thing. Anymore, I don't like, the rough, the bumps. I'd rather start out slick, stay slick. I know that's a trick with the track prep guys and not get a track to take rubber, but no, them guys have turned tremendous progress on the track conditions. It's starting off slick. There's a little moisture, a little bit of chop, but no, Rod's got that thing. That track's improving tremendously.
Now, are you still running the modified?
Yeah, we've been running that here and there. I-96. I think we're gonna get it out Friday. Kind of see how our schedule looks, but no, we've been kind of, I wouldn't say took our focus away from the late or the modified, but we put more of it into the late model per se. We're having a fun time with that.
Now, I got to ask you, with your expectations and how things have gone already, I want to go through your results page a little bit here. And these are the results that are on my race pass. And I know you talked about expectations a little bit with Rich, but to come out of the gate with this thing at Crystal, fourth, then a seventh, right? Okay, so we got a top 5 and a top 10. Then we finally finish outside the top 10 on Saturday, May 30th with an 11th. Go to Merritt, finish 8th. Come back to Crystal, back to 7th, then a runner-up, then a 12th. Okay, whatever. You have a bad night. Then a 4th, then a 3rd, then the last chance showdown on Friday night, 5th, and then you go to Victory Lane on Saturday at Crystal. Has this been the crescendo that you expected? Are you getting here faster than you thought you would?
Yeah, honestly. I had a good feeling going into that practice after we left that, we had a good solid piece of equipment, but race conditions versus, practice, test and tune are two totally different things. And then, you're racing with some of these guys that have, had thousands of laps on these late models, and, we're just diving into it. Kind of, I wouldn't say blindly, but like you said, going from the stock sub and everything else, and it's been a learning curve, and I would say I am happy with how our season has been going. Absolutely.
Want to continue this conversation with Kody coming up in just a moment, but real quick, want to take a break to say thank you to our interview sponsor. Tonight it is Tri-State Sprints, one of the most unique shows on pavement, whether it's winged sprint cars or stand-up modifieds. They've got a rules package for everybody, and they put on a fantastic show. Next on the schedule, I do believe, is going to be Saturday, August 1st at Grand Bend Speedway. Don't think that they're going to get that Auto City show in this Saturday as Auto City continues to try to rebuild after their fire over there. So no Auto City on Saturday, July 18th. Saturday, August 1st, Grand Bend Speedway expected to host. Friday, August 7th, Birch Run Speedway, and then Whittemore Speedway scheduled to be the cap on that doubleheader. Noah's giving me a hard time in chat. I'm not going to look at those right now. So thank you to Tri-State Sprints. You get a chance to go out and check out one of their shows. Do so. I've seen a couple of them, Rich. They're very interesting, very unique shows. You really never know who's going to go to Victory Lane. So check out Tri-State Sprints. Find them on Facebook to keep up to date with their full schedule. Now, Kody, is this new for you to drive for somebody? Have you always kind of managed and drove your own equipment?
Yeah, yep. This is totally new experience. And I honestly, you couldn't ask for a better car owner than Roger. He's got tremendous amount of experience and insight. He's got great equipment he's gave us. He just wants to see us succeed, maintain his car, and whatever we learn and however we do, put it back into the program and continue to move forward.
And that's always kind of been what I wonder is when you're so used to doing everything on your own, is it a tough transition? But it's got to be a little bit relieving when you've got somebody that trusts you to do what you think needs to be done.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Basically after the first night with this late model race night, I kind of did feel a huge weight lift off my shoulders. Being able to fund, two cars, and I have tremendous sponsors that have been with us for, ever since we started. Till we picked up some over the last 4 or 5 years that really turned our program around. But no, racing this late model has actually taken a weight off my shoulders to be able to put a little bit more funding back into our racing program per se.
Kody, but Zach and I both drove before. I drove for quite a few more years than Zach did. And I always like getting into the driver's head. You had no problems with confidence when you're running in a modified, right?
Yep.
No problems there whatsoever. You go to a late model and you kind of got to start over a little bit, right? To kind of like temper yourself. What's this win do for you? Does that kind of get you back up on the seat and the driver's smiling inside the helmet now?
Oh yeah, I like it. I don't think I've stopped smiling yet, to be honest with you. I'm still, in shock. I like I said, I did set high expectations for myself, but to get a win against some of these guys is pretty surreal. We've been happy with everything so far.
So you got quite a few you got several races left here at Crystal. What is your goal now? I'm sure they've changed now that you got a win under your belt.
Well, I mean, obviously you always want to win the next one and the next one after that. But if we can keep, stringing out some top fives and even some top threes in there, that'd be huge. Maybe even pull out double duty with both cars and see what we can do with that.
Have you done that yet? Have you run both cars on the same night?
No, that's it's been talked about in the shop. It has. We just run into some crew issues as far as the amount of personnel it takes, and it's it's a full-time job getting one ready, let alone two ready, and make sure two are maintained at the track and ready to go.
Now we've talked to guys that have done that, right? They've done a modified and a late model, and you don't drive those things the same way. You think you're smooth enough where you could pull that off in one night?
I don't know if I am, but we'll find out when the timing's right. Like I said, this late model's still kind of new, so we're trying to put our focus on one car a night. And now that we're starting to get a good handle and good feel of what to tune on this late model, we very well, I think we getting close enough where we can handle it.
Okay, Kody. This win obviously comes a little bit ahead of schedule. We've talked in depth about your expectations and what you expect to do. Just how fun was that, though? Like, we talk so much on this show about, okay, your timeline, you've done this, now what's next? What about the fun, man? Just the smile that I saw with you down in Victory Lane. How cool was that?
Oh, like I said, I don't think I've stopped smiling once. No, it like I said, it exceeded our expectations. To be able to pull off a win. I want to say our roughly 10th night in it. We still got a little bit of work left to do on it, but I'm overall very, very pleased with our performance so far.
Well, like Nate Jones says, he says in a comment today, I don't know if you saw this or not, Kody, he says, if you weren't a Kody Johnson fan before this season, you are now. He goes on to say to watch him and Kyle run good in the wing cars makes everyone smile. So awesome to see these guys take an awesome opportunity and run with it. Is that how you saw it? We go back and we talk about, Roger saying, hey, come run this thing. Is this like a once in a lifetime thing for you?
Oh yeah. I mean, anytime a Hall of Famer asks you to hop in their equipment, I think you're would be pretty foolish to say no if you're asking me. And like I said, even if the late model didn't pan out, we could learn stuff that benefit our modified program. I'm just tickled to death that this late model gig has worked out so well. And I hope we're making our marketing partners proud and everybody that helps us out on this deal.
I got to ask you about the family side of it just a little bit. We'll try to get into some of the personal things, when we have guys on for the first time or maybe that we never hear about. Is this just something that you do or do you do it with your family? How is racing play into your everyday life?
Well, I work out in our race shop, but I don't know if my dad used to race back in the 90s and late 2000s. And he never sold any of his equipment. And buddy started dragging me to the races, and lo and behold, we're here. And now my dad's the one that turns the wrenches on this car. I get so busy with my work life, and I wouldn't have time to race as much as I do if it wasn't for him helping out. But no, Dad's at the races all the time. My wife goes here and there. She's not a huge race fan, but my father-in-law is there every week. No, it has turned in from a hobby to a family activity we do all together. Our weekends are pretty well booked at the racetrack.
Well, Kody, man, fantastic job. Congratulations on your first win. Before we let you get out of here, I want you to give everybody a shout out who's helped you out this season on that late model.
Well, first and foremost, my dad, like I said, if it wasn't for him turning the wrenches on this thing, I wouldn't be able to race as much as I could. Father-in-law, he comes in and helps out when he can, whether it be the tires or if we know we need some things buttoned up. And then I got to thank all our sponsors. We get Horizon Theory. They came on board about 4 years ago and been tremendous help to our program. Got Sureshine Auto Detailing, Red Oak Seamless Eaves Trough, Trayer Water Wells, BC Hunting, Foley's Deer Processing, Hoover Drywall, Marshall Family Farms, Fish Trucking, Racer Speed Shop, Bryn Incorporated, Weir's Machine and Racing Products. And I feel terrible because I feel like I'm missing somebody. But if I did, I apologize.
Aren't you in the race shop?
Yes.
He didn't even he didn't want to turn his head around.
Isn't that race car in there somewhere?
Well, we got one of them over here. Oh my gosh. One of my best friends growing up, King's Disposal. I totally would have felt bad if I would have left them guys out. Thank you.
Is that it? I want to make sure you got them all. Take the phone over there if you need to, man.
No, we got everybody, but thank you. Thank you.
Cool. Well, man, congratulations on the win, and cool for the team too, right? I mean, like we said at the top, you and Kyle now have both got the job done so far this season, and that's exciting, man. And nice work. Looking forward to seeing what you guys do the rest of the year.
Awesome. No, I appreciate it, and thanks for having me once again.
Yeah, of course. All right, we're going to take a quick break here on Horsepower Happenings. Come back, go over that upcoming calendar. That is straight ahead in 30 seconds. We'll be right back.
Think your camper handled the winter just fine? Think again. Every time the temperature fluctuates, drop moisture freezes and expands, turning tiny hairline cracks into major pathways for water. That freeze-thaw cycle is a silent killer for RV seals. If you haven't had a professional roof and exterior sealant inspection this spring, you're likely towing a leak you can't see yet. Midwest Camper Repair specializes in catching that winter damage before it reaches your interior. We're mobile and we check it all from the roof to the floor. Don't let a winter crack ruin your summer fun. Call Midwest Camper Repair today and start the season sealed tight. Call 419-799-1171. That's 419-799-1171 or visit MidwestCamperRepair.com. Serving the tri-state area from the roof to the floor, Midwest Camper Repair has you covered.
KG Media is your home for all things photography, race day social media, and more. Kody Geyer brings more than a decade of experience working with the top brands in short track racing. From individual photos to full race days, social media to PR, KG Media can make your race team, race track, or touring series stand out. For more information, go to marknews.org or visit KG Media on Facebook.
Welcome back to Horsepower Happenings, and now he did it again, didn't he?
He brought it. He brought up the 2-box screen so they could flip the coin and see who was going to go.
And I lost.
Noah.
So,
yeah.
Welcome back to Horsepower Happenings. Now time to go up some of the upcoming items, Zach. And the Outlaws are a little busy this weekend. That's unusual for them to have a double on the weekend, but a couple big races. On Friday, Kalamazoo Speedway, the Outlaw Super Late Models, Legends of the Zoo 100. Temple Late Models and front-wheel drives are also in action. Friday, gates open at 3 at Kalamazoo, racing at 7:30. And then on Saturday, one of the big boys in the state of Michigan. A lot of drivers appreciate what Stan Yee Sr. did for the sport here in Michigan. The Moran Chevrolet Stan Yee Memorial 150 this Saturday at Flat Rock, presented by DTS Drivetrain Specialists. 150 laps for the Outlaw Super Late Models. Street stocks, factory stocks also in action. Gates open at 4:30, racing at 7 p.m. at Flat Rock.
All right, let me jump in here, Rich. Coming up on Saturday, Lebo's Birthday Bash will be taking place at Crystal Motor Speedway with a huge fireworks show. That's right, with a Y, huge, not with an H, huge fireworks show coming up at Crystal Motor Speedway on Saturday. 35-lap street stock special. Here's the deal. I just got this text from longtime supporter of Horsepower Happenings, Brian LeBaron. If they get 24 cars, or not if they get 24 cars, it'll be 24 cars who will start. $250 to start, Rich. $2,242 to win. And it's a pretty good pay throughout the field as well. $2,242 to win, $1,000 for second, $750 for third, and then it pays down from there. And again, $250 to start. That's a street stock special this Saturday and a huge fireworks show. Plus, late models, pro stocks, and bombers and mini wedges all in action Saturday at Crystal. Pits open at 2, gates at 4, racing set to begin at 7 o'clock.
And Zach, I went back and forth on this. I said, if we wait till next week, we have no time.
It's going to be too late. Yeah, this is the right thing to do. For people to get this
information out. So we're going to put this out today, a week from tomorrow, Tuesday and Wednesday, July 21st and 22nd. Owasso Speedway is the place to be for the Masters of the Pros 200 for the Turn 1 CRA Pro Series. At Kevin and Keelan Harvick night, they're going to be back once again in 2026. On Tuesday, 2 practice sessions for the Turn 1 CRA Pro Series beginning at 4 p.m. Then, following that, dinner with the Harvicks. And no, you just can't come and bust down the gates.
Where did this come from? This is the first time hearing of this. I didn't know anything about this.
Yep. Well, they're adding something else to it. Kevin and Keelan had such a great time last year. They wanted to come back and do something for the fans. They hung out after the races last year and signed autographs. So they figured, well, let's do something different. So dinner with the Harvicks. This is a private catered event. It requires a ticket. You can't just walk up and go in and pay and order your meal. This will start at 5:30 on Tuesday. That's the July 21st. Tickets and details of the schedule of the event are available at owassospeedway.com. Then on Wednesday, grandstands open at 3 p.m., qualifying at 5. A Fan Fest autograph session in the pit area at 5:45. Opening ceremonies at 7, and then the green flag, Zach, for the Masters of the Pros 200 at Owasso Speedway goes off at 7:30.
Are we both going to be there?
Yeah, I don't know that I'm going to be sitting with you, though. Sounds like I got to get my walking shoes on, just guessing.
You're going to get the old step counter to have the wide-eyed wow emoji again.
Probably.
Well, we could switch if you want. Do you want me to take pit road?
We'll see. I don't know. You want to work with Ramos that bad?
I don't know. It depends. If it's 100 degrees out, I probably won't argue you to have pit road.
I bet.
All right, that's going to do it. Of course, plenty of races coming up this weekend, and keep an eye on some stuff going on. Ionia Free Fair is going to have the Great Lakes Lightning Sprints again on Thursday, July 23rd. $1,000 to win that event. That's a purse increase for that one. And some special guest racers expected to be there. We'll have those announcements coming out here very soon, so keep an eye on that. It's going to do it for our program tonight. For Rich France, my co-host, Noah Longyear, the producer of Horsepower Happenings, I'm Zach Heiser. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We'll talk to you same time, same place next week right here on Horsepower Happenings.
You've been listening to Horsepower Happenings. The views and opinions expressed in tonight's show may not directly reflect that of Horsepower Happenings. The contents of this program may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or disseminated without the express written consent of Horsepower Happenings. Follow Horsepower Happenings on Facebook, Instagram, X, and all major podcast platforms, including Spotify, iHeart, iTunes, and Pandora, to keep up on what's happening.